Hi, I am Donna Woodley and I'm a visual artist. I'm a painter. I'm very excited to be here at the Washington Theater Community Gallery. I've been an artist for off and on over 10 years, probably closer to 15. I used to be an accountant and then I changed careers. I went back to school for art and I love painting portraits. That's primarily what I do, and then I like to include a decent amount of humor in the work in addition to the main topic dealing with social justice issues centered around Black culture. A lot of the time my inspiration lies in the stories of people. I'm a firm believer that everybody has a story, and oftentimes people they may not even realize it, but they kind of diminish a person's story when they're like, oh yeah, everybody goes through that. And so what I try to practice in life is to just be a good listener to everybody's individual story, because I'm genuinely interested, number one, but I want them to know that their journey counts. I have a few series here on display. They're all portraits. I would say that they will draw you in based off of the symbols that I place within the compositions, and some of them might come off as a little bit humorous initially, but there's always like a deeper story. And I often paint people that I know. They've been gracious enough to pose for me, and then I do a photo shoot. So if you come to this show, you will see portraits of gentlemen with either sitting on toilets or standing, leaning on a toilet. There are some figures, portraits with red scarves on, which represent the idea, and it's a nod to Hattie McDaniel, who appeared in Gone with the Wind, and she won an Oscar for that back in the 40s, which is unheard of, a Black lady. And then there are some self-portraits which derive from selfies that talk about mental health within the Black community. This space is a wonderful space to display work. The energy in the community center as a whole is just electrifying to me. The couple of times that I've been here, I've enjoyed just walking in and just hearing the noises, and then coming into this space. The way that the art is displayed is at eye level, so it's a good, really good space to have people come and see your work, and I definitely would recommend it. This is a series called The Royal Court, and it involves 3 gentlemen that I know. I'll start with this one. The name of this one is Prince Joseph III, and the whole point of the series is it's dealing with perception of Black men within American society. And so these are 3 Black men that are very successful in their area, in their careers. And so this is Prince Joseph III. He's a good friend of mine that was gracious enough to pose for me. And he's an artist as well, a great artist. And I put the toilet in here because the toilet is often referred to humorously as a throne. And so I put that in here as a play on royalty. And that's talking about ancestral royalty, as well as like the perception of being a king or a prince in your own mind. And then he often travels around Nashville riding a bike. So, and this says Chisholm for president. He actually has a bike that is talking about Shirley Chisholm, who is a Black lady who ran for president at one point in time. I think back in the late 80s, maybe early 90s. So that's Prince Joseph III. And moving on, this is going to be King John II. His name is actually John, and he's a friend of mine. In addition to, he owns his own gym in Franklin, Tennessee. And so the whole idea for this series came up as one day I was training with John, and he told me, he was like, "You should paint me as a king." And when he said that, I was like, okay, so how would that look on canvas? And I didn't want to do like one of those, for lack of a better term, typical paintings with, the black man with a crown on his head. And so I went home that day, and I remember a light bulb coming up, just lighting up in my mind. And I was like, toilets. And so the idea of this toilet stemmed from this little wooden hang up that my grandparents used to have on the bathroom. And it was a king, it was a queen, a prince, and a princess. And so it was like, welcome to the throne. And so that's where, it all kind of like stemmed together. I explained the idea to him, and he loved it. And so this was the very first painting out of the series that I did. So this is King John II. And then lastly, moving along to this one, this is Sir Brandon the Great. This is my cousin. He is an amazing artist. Used to be in Tennessee, and now he's in Maryland, doing very well. He's paints the figure as well, and amongst really anything. He's an amazing painter. And so I wanted to put a symbol. So he's sitting on the toilet, just like Prince Joseph III, but I included this basketball as a nod to the type of work that Brandon does. He basically, he'll take old basketballs, donated and found basketballs, and he'll basically take them apart, and he makes these amazing blooms with them. And so he also likes to play basketball. So I decided to put the basketball in as a symbol of one of the things that he does very well. So this painting is a part of a series of about 8 paintings, and the series is entitled What's in a Name? And there are a couple of things about this particular painting that I wanted to speak on. The first thing would be the red scarf, which all of the paintings have red scarves included in them on the figure's head. And the name of the painting, which in this case it's called Kelshika. And so the red scarf, in addition to basically this gaze, like the figure is basically gazing out at the viewer, and it's a way of confrontation of the viewer, and it deals with ideas of beauty, again, within American society. And so this scarf back in the day used to be kind of like the thing that black women wore. And there's also a symbol of Mammy. And in the movie Gone with the Wind, Hattie McDaniel played the character of Mammy in that movie. And she ended up winning an Oscar award. And I wanted to basically touch on those types of topics in this painting. And I wanted to kind of, put a little makeup on the figure and just, talk about this idea of beauty and how society has a standard of beauty. But I believe now that standard of beauty has widened greatly because we're just looking at things differently. Models don't have to be a size 0 anymore, those types of things. Hair can be natural now. Scarves can be worn and it be considered to be a beautiful thing. And then lastly, the name Kelshika is my way. Names are really important to me. And when I was growing up, I always heard, it was shunned to come up with a creative name for a black person, whether male or female. because then it was like, well, are they going to be able to get a job, that type of thing. And so I started to think about that early on in making my paintings. And the names of my work are really important. This one is Kelshika, and it actually came from one of my friends who lives in Boston. She went to a Dunkin' Donuts, and the server's name on the receipt was Kelshika, and I love the name, so I decided to name this painting Kelshika. But I just embrace and want to normalize this idea of creativity within names. This series, it's a small series, it's an ongoing series, and I call this the Mask series. And it started out actually as a commission. This painting actually belongs to somebody, and her name is Tequila, so I named the painting Tequila. And she had expressed to me, she's a social justice advocate in Nashville, Tennessee, and she had expressed to me that she did not like wearing the mask during the heavy time of COVID, but she knew it was a necessary thing. And so she wanted a painting to, for lack of a better term, in remembrance of COVID, or to basically represent the times that we were living in at the time that I made the painting. So I started to think about what I could do. I knew that there were a lot of mask paintings out there, so I didn't want to do something, I wanted to think of something slightly different. And so I made a portrait of her, we did a photo shoot, and I decided to actually put a kind of like a transparent mask on her face. And the message on the mask says, "I can't breathe." And so that message has a dual meaning because we were dealing with a lot of social injustice in the last year. And also just the fact that the reason that she does not like the mask is because she can't breathe. So I thought that that would be a good combination for a good message to represent both of these discourses. So this is Tequila. And then something interesting, like a lot of times I'll have a picture, but if I showed you the picture that I was working from the reference photo, it'll look a little different. Her tank top was actually like this multicolored tank top, black and white. And so I thought that the color red worked a little better in the painting. So moving on to this painting, this is actually a self-portrait. And I was inspired by the commission to add to make it a series actually. And so I wanted to do other messages on the mask. Right now it's untitled. I could name it Donna, but I like to come up with a different name. So I haven't come up with that name yet, and that's okay. But Can't Wait is a message that stemmed from a documentary that I was watching called Amend on Netflix. And it's talking about the laws that took place. It talked about slavery, but then it progressed through the years and talked about other laws that were specifically made to continue to oppress Black people. And so this message, Can't Wait, was a response to, you know, the Black community asking, well, when are things going to change? When are things going to change? When will we have equality? And then the response was, well, it's coming soon, or, you know, just hang on a little while longer. It's going to change eventually. And so this is an actual phrase that appeared in protests and things like that, like, we're tired of waiting, we can't wait any longer. And so I thought that would be a good message to put here in the time of COVID, in addition to the continuous social injustice that we experience in this country. Again, I am Donna Woodley, a visual artist. I'm very happy to have been a part of this exhibition. There's about a week left, so please come out and see it. This is my work, and I hope you enjoy it. I hope you enjoy it visually and the conceptual nature of it. And please visit this gallery in the future as well. I actually know the artist that is showing next month. She's an amazing painter, and I definitely think you should come to see her.